Welcome, everyone. It's Henry DeVries from Indie Books International. Welcome to the Marketing with a Book podcast. So glad to have you here. And as the tradition is, we're going to start with a Indie Books author roll call. So ground rules for the podcast: when it's your turn to speak, unmute. When we're passing the talking stick to the next person, please mute. And then when we get into our discussion, we ask that you stay muted until I open the floor for questions or comments from the group. So those are the ground rules. So now another ground rule: introducing yourself. What we'd like is your name and your book title. Take a pause, take a breath, and then give us the subtitle. Too often we say it all together. Hi, my name is Henry DeVries, and I'm the author of Marketing with a Book: How to Attract High-Paying Clients with the Science of Speaking. It's like, what? So it goes by too fast. So take your time. We're going to start with David, and then go with Minal, and then Mark. David, Minal, and Mark, please.
Thank you. I'm David Goldman, and I wrote the book, The Road to Happiness: How to Get What You Really Want.
Thank you, David, for modeling the behavior. Thank you so much. Minal, and then Mark.
My name is Minal Sampat. I wrote the book, Why Your Marketing is Killing Your Business and What to Do About It.
Thanks, welcome. We'll hear more from Minal as our special guest today. Mark up, Bill on deck.
Thank you, Henry. My book is Defining You: How Smart Professionals Craft the Answers to Who Are You, What Do You Do, and How Can You Help Me?
Excellent, thanks. Bill, and then Steve.
Hi, I'm Bill Leiter, and my to be released in March book is Mastering Your Balance: How to Lead and Live at Your Full Potential.
Right. Thanks, Bill. And then Steve, Diane, and then Mary.
Hi, I am from Houston, Texas, and my book is called What Happens After the Sale: The Business and Personal Journey After the Big Event.
Thanks, Steve. Diane, Mary, and then Teresa.
Hello, my name is Diane Ployce. My book is in process. It is Questions to Ask Before You Buy a Franchise.
Thanks, Diane. Mary, and then
Yes.
Teresa.
Hello, I'm Mary Schmidt, and my book is Make or Break Conversations: How Smart Financial Professionals Land and Keep Clients for Life.
Thanks, Mary. Teresa, and then Perry.
Hello, I'm Dr. Teresa Ashby, and my book is Better Implementation Now.
And your subtitle?
Oh, sorry about that. Is 8 Ways Great Strategies Fail and How to Fix Them.
Great. Perry, good to see you. Do you want to talk about your work? You're on mute, Perry.
The most
There we go.
famous thing to say this
Yes.
year. You're on mute. I got started on a book a few years ago, and then I got sick with Lyme disease and so on, but I'm going to get back into it soon. And the name of my book is Solving the Profit Puzzle. It's about how businesses can use best practices and an awesome culture to whip their competition.
Perry, I'm glad that you're feeling better. The world needs your wisdom on that subject. I got a preview of it. You need to get that out there. So glad you're back in the game.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me just make sure I didn't miss anyone. Oh, I think we've got the crew. So thank you, everyone. And thank you for modeling the behavior. Great job. I even saw some people hold their book correctly, head high. Great for social media, which is a lead in. We've got Minal Sampat with us today, and we're going to give her the talking stick in just a minute. But first, I wanted to turn it over to the chairman of Indie Books, Mark LeBlanc. And Mark, do you have a tip to share with us today?
Thank you, Henry. I sure do. And it's interesting. It's come up several times this week, and that is the power of tracking your achievements, small, medium, and large, both business and personal. I started this in 2017, and every 30 days, which I believe is the secret to your success, lies in the phrase every 30 days. But since early 2017, every 30 days, I have taken a moment to look back on the last 30 days and jot down 4, 5, 6 or so on average achievements for the previous 30 days. So I can go back year by year, month by month. And on those days when you're feeling frustrated or tired, or maybe you've been fired, by a client, or a proposal didn't come through, or you just hit a bit of a valley. It has been a huge, not only a morale booster, but a momentum builder to just riffle through those achievements and just be reminded of the good work that you are doing and have done.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for that tip. Well, now we're going to go to our speaker. Minal Sampat is an international best-selling author. She's author of the book, Why Your Marketing is Killing Your Business and What to Do About It. She's a national speaker, a marketing strategist, a Guinness Book of World Record holder. So we've got an amazing person here. She's a registered dental hygienist, an enthusiastic shoe lover. What is she not doing? I don't know. She's doing everything. Minal grew up in St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and now resides in Washington State with her husband. She gets her mail in Florida, but that's another story. She launched her first marketing company by breaking a Guinness World Record, and just this year she launched Marketologist. Oh, I blew it. Marketologist. She even sent me a t-shirt and I blew it. Sorry, Minal. It's a marketing strategy school. It's online. She's also been featured in industry and national press, including Forbes. To learn more or get in touch, please go to minalsampat.com, and we'll put that in the chat. So please, we welcome people with applause, with jazz hands. Please welcome Minal Sampat.
Hello, guys. Hi. So glad to be here. Thank you, Henry and Mark, for inviting me, and Suzanne for putting this all together for everybody who's here. Something that I always like to do when I'm talking about this is, let me just kind of share as to how I even wrote a book, because I know this is all about the book. It was 2019. It was February. I was in San Diego, La Jolla, in Mark LeBlanc's Achiever Circle. There were 10 of us in that Achiever Circle, and 8 were authors. 2 were not authors. I was one of the individuals who was not an author yet. And at that time, I am 35 right now. At that time, I guess I was 32, 33, around that age. And I remember everybody talking there. And I remember thinking, who wants to learn from a millennial? Like, I haven't even lived long enough to write a book. I haven't done enough to share my information. Who would even want to be a part of this? And clearly with Mark LeBlanc's genius, and just so happened that Henry was sitting right next to me throughout the 2-day workshop, I clearly left La Jolla saying, well, I guess I'm going to be an author. And probably one of the best decisions that I ever made. That was February of 2019. I launched my book. I say launch because it was an online launch. I published my book in January of 2020. And then within 24 hours, it became an Amazon bestseller. And fast forward to today, I still get daily sales and reviews and people sharing about it and talking about it. And I have randomly people reaching. I had somebody reach out from Israel on Instagram the other day saying that my book is apparently their book in their study group. No idea who they are. No idea how they have my book, but they reached out to our team with photos of them holding the book and doing a lot more. So it kind of continued that drive. Now, as a millennial and as a marketing strategist, one of the things that organically comes to me and that I love is technology. So what I wanted to share were just a few tips and tricks that have been really helpful in me not only just sharing my book as a way to market myself or my business, but sharing my book in a way that has allowed me to connect with a lot more individuals, and it continues to build the momentum. So we haven't even touched I published my book on Amazon. I haven't even touched Amazon ads yet. Today was the first day that I actually spoke with my team, and we are working on Amazon ads soon. But before that, for this entire year, it's been incredible. So one of the first things that I wanted to share is, before I get into the strategy part, I wanted to share a little bit of story as to how I fell in love with marketing. As Henry said, I was born in India. I grew up in the US Virgin Islands. So my family moved to the US Virgin Islands when I was just 12 years old. Now, as many people do when they move to a new place, they threw a dinner party. My parents decided that they're going to throw a dinner party to get to know our neighbors, our community a little bit better, just in the island of St. Thomas, because that's where we moved. But what they did was, they didn't just throw a dinner party on a weekend night. They decided to throw a dinner party on the night of a Cricket World Cup match. Now, for many of you are like going, Cricket World Cup match? I mean, come on, what? But a Cricket World Cup match for East Indians and West Indians is a very big deal. So this World Cup was between Indians, like it was India and West Indies. So I remember, like, there were about 40 people in our tiny 2-bedroom apartment. There was a lot of commotion. There was like people going, go India, go West Indies, go India, go West Indies. All of this noise and commotions happening. There were ice being crushed because you could hear for pina coladas, and there was smell of spices in the air because of the samosas my mom was frying, and all of this commotion and going on. And I was getting really excited myself. As a 12-year-old, I remember just sitting down next to the couch on the floor, because my favorite part of the cricket match was coming up. You see, just like the Super Bowl, which we had earlier this month, what a cricket match has are the best ads. And I absolutely love the ads. And this ad comes on for a flat screen TV. Now, in this flat screen TV, there is 3 different frames. The first frame is zoomed in on a man's face, and he's crying. He has tears coming down his eyes. The second frame is zoomed out, and you could see that he's sitting on this sofa and he's watching this flat screen TV. So whatever he's watching is making him cry. And we assume that he's watching something that's making him cry. Now, the third frame is zoomed in on that flat screen TV, and we find out what he's watching that's making him cry. Do you know what he was watching that was making him cry? There were onions being chopped. On the flat screen TV, there were onions being chopped, and this man was reacting to the onions being chopped on the flat screen TV. And I remember sitting there as a 12-year-old going, that's brilliant. That's a marketing strategy that works. I just wanted my parents to buy that flat screen TV. Didn't care what kind of product it was. It wasn't like it was the only flat screen TV in the world, but that flat screen TV, because of the marketing strategy they had on this ad, where you just feel like, wow, the resolution is so good that this man is crying because the onions are being chopped, but just the hilarious part around it is what made me be like, this is what I want to do when I grow up. I wonder if I can do this too. And that's the day I fell in love with marketing. And then it's been a journey since then to come to where I am today. But I wanted to share that because the issue that we have in our world today is that we have so many marketing options that we simply don't need. Or we have so many marketing options that we feel overwhelmed about. Every time I was just talking to somebody, and I had this hilarious meme going up. There was pretty much like, we were finally getting used to the fact of TikTok, of people making hilarious dances, and out of a sudden there's Clubhouse now. And I have to be on Clubhouse now. So I'm already tired of being on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. And I have to be on TikTok, and I have to be now on Clubhouse, and I have to be on YouTube. Like, come on, there is too many marketing platforms. Just like there are too many flat screen TVs. See, it's never been about the tools. It's never been about the platforms. It's always been about how we utilize those platforms. It's a chopped onion effect. Is what I'm going to share going to have the chopped onion effect, and are people going to react to that? And the reason I'm sharing a little bit of backstory here is because the way that my book came out and the way that it continues to gain momentum in my world, I believe it has a lot to do with how it's being shared. It's that chopped onion effect. The book is good. It's in no way brilliant. It's in no way something that is, I'm not the only author who wrote a marketing book. There are amazing people who are writing marketing book. I just remember literally jumping and screaming when I realized that my book was trending next to John Maxwell's book on Amazon, and I literally fainted when I saw that. But a lot of that happened because there was a simple thing called a marketing strategy. Before the writing the book part in my world was easy because I had a brilliant coach like Henry who was along the way and who helped me put my chapters together and made it easy for me. And I had a brilliant team that I worked with to put things together. And the book was decided I'm going to write in February. By September, the book was done. But October, November, December were all spent on how we are going to actually talk about this book and how we are going to share it. So I'm going to share 3 specific strategies that are working for me, have worked for other authors as well when it comes to social media. Now, the first strategy, the chopped onion effect, number 1, is that you do need something inside your messaging that's going to be able to connect with people. Usually when you go onto social media and you have a book release coming out, the book release is focused everything on the book. Like, what are the things the book is going to cover, right? You want to educate people. What are they going to get out of it? Screw education. The thing with them is if they want a marketing book, they are going to go to Amazon, put down marketing books, and they're going to find it. They're going to go to Google and put that down too, and they're going to find it. The book in itself is a way for you to have a business card, but it's in a way for you to connect with people. Now, I'm going to share my screen. Suzanne, I could do that, right? I'm able to share my screen. If you can just give me that option, that'd be great. I'm going to share my screen because I'm going to show you just a few different ways on what we did to create that connection. So this is strategy number 1. Now, in strategy number 1, this is can everybody see my screen? Yes, yeah, wonderful. Okay, now this right here is my announcement on January 7th, the big announcement. Nothing crazy, it's just me sitting in a library, I'm holding a book. I'm going to zoom in on my messaging here just so people can see it. Big announcement, millions of books in the world, and now I get to call one of them my own. I was even very specific because we cracked down how the Amazon logarithm works to become a bestseller. I even told people at what time to buy my book. I had no shame. I went on and I'm like, this is the time I want you to buy my book. Here's how much it's going to be. Like, when to buy. Ideally today between 6:30 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. because that's the time we knew we had to crack. We knew the minimum number of books we had to buy. We knew what we had to do, right? But then look, if you go down here, there is not much about what the book covers except just a few things. Personally, this has been a journey for 9 months. I never thought I would be an author. I'm a reader, book lover, library visitor, but never did I think I would write a book. What made this possible are the experiences that I shared with my clients, which always circle back to the one thing. How do I make my business not just survive, but thrive? This is how the book, Why Marketing is Killing Your Business and What to Do About It, was born. I hope that you enjoyed as much as I love writing it. Thank you for allowing me to share. I appreciate each and every one of you. 350 comments, 16 shares, 285. I believe we sold books in 4 numbers during that 1 hour. Now, the reason that I'm sharing this is because if you go in here, there are a few things that I want to point out, and this is a chopped onion effect. The number 1 thing is, yes, we can always go in and we can always talk about what our book covers. But hopefully, because we have brilliant coaches here with us, our book's title and subtitle is clear enough. When you read the title of the book, Why Your Marketing is Killing Your Business, it's pretty simple. She's talking about marketing and what doesn't work in marketing. So I'm not going to sit there and talk about that. But I shared something that was authentic to me. I shared a part of my journey. And I realized that every time I share a part of my journey, things become a lot more relatable. Things become a lot more easy. That's the first thing, again, in this chopped onion strategy. Now, the second thing that I kind of liked, and I did on here as well, is giving the credit to the people who made it possible. In this case, it's my clients. My book is dedicated to my clients. Now, why does that work? It works in 2 different ways. The first way it works is because when you go ahead and give somebody else the credit for being a part of your journey online, You are humble. You are sharing a truth about where you are. You are not coming out and saying, look how brilliant I am. Look how amazing I am. Look how awesome I am. You're not doing that. You're sharing a true part of your journey. But the second part of this is, and this is more of that strategy I was talking about, is I had then gone ahead and tagged my client to this post. And before I made this announcement, I had emailed my client saying that I have something coming out tomorrow, and this is all because of you, and you will all be receiving a package from me. Please make sure to read the second page in the book because this is all you. Thank you for everything that you have taught me and done. And I'd already emailed them that, and when they saw it, they're like, oh my goodness. And then because I called them out on here, and then I tagged them, they also started sharing it. As you see on here, I never ask people to share this post, but it's organically being shared. Now, this is clearly from January 7, 2020, when the book actually came out. But in that simple thing, like I said, within that 1 hour, we literally had, I don't even know how many books that we sold. But within that 1 hour, because once again, I was very specific on when to buy, we had a lot more books sold and done with. Now, that's part of the step one of the strategy of using a platform like social media to make sense of it. Now, step two, we are going to take a step back for step two. How do we even get an audience who's going to engage with you and help you when you have to launch a book? So clearly there are people who follow you, right? But I didn't just get those amount of sales just because of people who commented and shared my post. So what we did is the way a social media logarithm works, especially for Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, the three platforms that I know many of us are active on. The way a logarithm works is it's something called EdgeRank. Now, the way EdgeRank works is Minal Sampat likes shoes. So if I see there is content being posted about shoes that is very popular, I am going to show that to Minal Sampat. The logarithm is smart where we are actually being tracked. And because our activity is being tracked, it can match what we like and what others are posting about it. So before we got into the actual launching and even the announcement, what we did is starting November and December of 2019, we created an entire thing of the holiday literary reading. We created a whole hashtag around it. We made a big thing. I was traveling a lot at that time. So I was in the Virgin Islands. I was in Portugal. I was in Hawaii. I was in, I don't even know, Virginia, all over the world I was. So what I did was every time I went to a new town or state or country, I would go to a library. I would take photos of me being in the library. I would take those same photos of being me in the library and we will start sharing them online. And every single week, there was at least one posting going up about my love for books, libraries, and then we would hashtag it and we would tag the libraries. So even the big, beautiful libraries in Portugal, even the library in Portland, which is Pavel Books, which is one of the biggest, it's a tie between New York or Powell's Books in Portland, which one is the biggest? We don't know, they keep fighting. But I went to both of them and I took photos at both of them. And then we shared about it and we tagged them and they would share about it. But what that did was because we were using the right hashtags and we were creating an entire series based on the content we wanted to attract people to, we had all these people who love reading start following me. Now, when the library would take my post of me being in that library and share it on their own page, all of the people off their page were like, oh, what is this? This is really cool. But again, they are sharing my post. So when they share my post, my business, my page is the one getting the credit. So when we made this announcement, this was just a Facebook. I mean, we made the announcement on Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere, right? When we made this announcement, the reason people bought these books was because we already had a following of readers who were genuinely going to go online and buy the book because we were working with the logarithm to do the work for us. So if you go back to the chopped onion analogy, they already knew what the flat screen TV is. They knew that the reason people want a flat screen TV is because of the resolution. And because of that resolution, we can joke about an onion being chopped and a man reacting to that. In that same way, a logarithm is the resolution to social media platforms. You have to understand how to crack or how to decode that logarithm if you organically want to get a following and organically you want to go ahead and start sharing. I do this quite a bit. Every time I have a big launch coming up, I will start sharing information relating to that launch so we get a following of people who are organically interested in that. And if they're organically interested in that, when I make that big announcement, they're going to see it and there's a more chance of them purchasing it or bringing value to me through that because of that logarithm. I hope I'm okay with all of this. So far, we're good, Henry and Mark. No questions or anything like that. I bet I'll take questions at the end, but I wanted to share the 3 strategies and then I'll take some questions. Now the third strategy, and this is the one that comes after. Okay, so the first one that I talked about in the strategy was the announcement being authentic and focusing on that connecting piece, the messaging piece. Strategy number 2 was a flashback before the announcement. You want to gather an audience on social media that's actually going to connect and ready to buy and purchase from you because you've built a relationship and you share the content that they relate to it and you've cracked the logarithm. The third one, now the third one is a little bit different. The third one is a little bit different because in the third one, this is where you have to do some work. You know, you use the logarithm the first time, you made an announcement, tagged your clients and the whole thing, and they're supporting you and sharing for you. This is where you have to do the work. So I'm going to share my screen again here, and I'm going to show you just an idea of series of events as to what happened once I made my announcement. Now, in the social media platform, as you see here, let me just make this just a tiny bit bigger if I can. There we go. Okay, now, lots going on. Sorry, let me just find that right here. Okay, so we have all of this here. We have all of this here. Lots of postings, as you can see here. But if we look through this right here, this is my post that I showed you earlier where I said, this is my announcement. Well, right after that, because the book did become, in the Amazon, it was like, this is actual photo of the bestseller sticker through Amazon directly on there. That's talking about it. And we are already getting reviews. We had just published, and this is January 8th. So January 7th is when I made the announcement. January 8th, we had the bestseller sticker coming out, and we already had reviews coming in within 24 hours. Now, what we did was we started sharing every single day without being annoying, because you don't want to be that annoying jerk on social media that keeps talking about their book and their information. What we did was we started sharing everything from, hey, here are the results of your work. You made this happen for us. You made this a bestseller within 24 hours. It's all about you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the people who are already reviewing the book, the whole thing, right? So we went in and did that. Then you see that there are some fun photos of the photo shoots that we are sharing as well. Then literally where I was at a conference at that time. It was the first time that I got to actually hold my final book in my hand, because the books I had before then were the ones that I was editing on, and I was just doing a launch and it was going to happen. So as you see here, I literally had the person, one of my team members, come to this conference and drop off these books for me. And as you see on here, they are not showing you the post because it's a three-page post, but hundreds and hundreds of comments on these. Literally me opening the box and having a real reaction to holding my book. Like, this is not fake. This is me just holding it, people sharing it, people looking at it, people's reaction as to how they were reacting when I got my book. People asking me to autograph the book, going around with people with photos. They are reading the book, sharing books. This is Alan Stern, who's also one of, I know, Indie Family clients as well. So him sharing the book, I did a book launch party, putting it out there. We even had this happen where people were coming in and signing their autographs on that book as well. But you see, there's a lot of momentum. And the momentum is not simply me, it's other people who are taking photos and sharing the book. When you find industry leaders reading your book, I had the biggest smile on my face. Thank you, Laura. Now, what happened here, and this is, I'm going to stop share. So what happened here is that if you want to go ahead and make a big splash, it's a lot easier to do a big splash when there's a crowd and when there are people around. So if you are able to do a book launch, a book party, when you are able to either be somewhere where there are going to be people, or perhaps you throw a party where there are going to be people, you want to make sure that there is a lot of hype around it. Now, what happened was when I had industry leaders or like, because I literally opened the box there and I only had 10, I don't know, 10 or 20 books in those boxes, and they were gone in 5 minutes. And I'm like, I don't have any books to give you. I'm so sorry, but we'll get to it. I'll email you a book. I'll send you a book. People were taking the book and taking photos with it. Now, when we post other people with your books online, they go a little bit like, oh my God, this is so awesome. Why don't I have that book? So the launch the book in a crowd is really good, but what you need to do as a strategy is to make sure that you start sharing it. And then here's the effect that happened after that. So we had all these people taking photos with the book and we were sharing them, right? Well, everybody else who was buying the book organically started sending my team photos of them with the book. So even today, if you were to go to my Instagram, even today, if you were to go to my social media and stuff, you actually see people who are reading my book and they're sending us photos from them reading it in the plane, reading it at the wine bar, reading it at the garden, reading it on a boat. They are organically sending us photos because that's the culture that was created. This is a community. Whoever has this book should take a photo and share it. We never said that. We never asked them to do it. But they would organically do it. And once they started doing it, then we started posting and saying, hey, we just got another photo of somebody with the book. Thank you so much for sharing. By the way, do you have that book? Hey, send us a picture. I'll show you some examples. So here's somebody who, again, took a photo of her reading. And as you go through, there's going to be multiple different things coming up with photos and videos of literally people just sharing a lot more with the book, like even like photos like these, where they're like, we will take a screenshot of somebody who shares and they're sharing photos of them reading. And we were like, that is great. We will share that as well. And it just organically started showing up like random people just messaging us photos with the book, literally photos with the books. And it happens so much on a weekly basis. And this is them. This is not even us, like Mollers and Merlot. Read this book, Dental Peeps, taking the book and sending us photos with it. All of that just started happening organically because we had a crowd. We had a lot of people doing it. And then everybody felt like if they were not doing it, they were having FOMO around it. So it was all free marketing that we started getting from people who are just sharing with, having it with a coffee, or sharing it, doctors who had, because my audience is a lot of it is doctors sharing it in there. But you get the point. It just kept happening over and over again. And we just started getting photos of people sharing the book with us. And I definitely think that for me, now that was my first book that I wrote. But looking back at it and kind of reverse engineering what happened, just today itself, I sold 10 books on Amazon. And I checked that before I came in so I can give you guys the results. A lot of that I think is happening because other people are marketing for me. We created a culture of community, and we created a culture of saying that, hey, if you don't have this book, you're missing out, because everybody else out there is sharing photos with this book. They're talking about the book. I think we are at 41 reviews right now. I know I need 9 more reviews, right, Henry? I need like 50 reviews or something similar to that. He's like, yeah, I think I need 50 reviews. Yeah. So I'm at 41 right now, and that's why we are starting Amazon ads, because as soon as we reach 50, we are going to hype up that Amazon logarithm as much as we can, where we start showing up on everybody's inboxes. So it's, we are working around the system to figure it out right now. But I really believe that one of the reasons the book is still working and it's still selling organically today is because everybody else still keeps sharing photos of them with the book. Like it's becoming a thing where even if I'm speaking somewhere and if I have the book, people will get the book and they'll take photos. So think about your marketing strategy again in that chopped onion effect and see what is going to make people react. And sometimes the strategy is other people doing it. Let's face it, we all have FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. If somebody's doing it, we're like, why are we not doing it? That's the whole power of social media. So just want to give you a few different specific strategies. But yeah, if you have questions, I'll be happy to take those questions now.
Well, I'll take the talking stick. I got questions. Oh, have you heard of JOMO? Joy of missing out. It's when you've got too much going on. Thanks. So that was genius, Minal. That was genius. I think that's going to get an article. We got to write that up as an article with your blessing. We left him hanging on this Guinness World Record. I think that's a great story. Could you share the Guinness World Record story, please?
Sure. So it was 2013. I was a 20-some-year-old person who decided, so anybody who's here, if you know any East Indians, we have some stereotypes about us. One of the stereotypes is it's either you're going to be a doctor, engineer, or own a business. Well, I was in college, I was pre-dental, and I had I had just called my father up because I took my DATs, I took my applications, I had called my Indian father up and I said, Dad, I'm not applying to dental school. I'm going to open up a company and a business. And my dad goes, well, you better be successful because that's you're going to give up being a doctor and do business instead. You better be successful. So I already had this pressure, already all these things were happening in the family, right? But I decided that if I want to be taken seriously, nobody is going to trust a young 20-something-year-old who goes to their businesses and say, hey, hire me, I can help you with your marketing because I have experience because I did marketing for a long time and all of that, but I didn't have, the age was against me. This was a time when people still hated millennials a lot more than they hate them now. I know we still hate millennials, but at that time it was really turned up. Now you have the Gen Zs, the Gen Zs take all the burnt. But at that time, the millennials were getting all the burn that was happening. So I realized that I have to do something that's going to make people say, you know what, she knows what she's doing. And if you can tell, I like to make big splashes when I decide to do something. So I have always been obsessed with world records. It's something since I was a little kid, I always loved it. Did you know that there is somebody in Brooklyn, New York, who actually has a world record for having the most amount of world records? Like, that's what I want to be when I grow up. But when I started in this 20s early thing, I said, well, how do I launch my business, my first company? How do I launch it by not just throwing a cocktail party or putting up a post online or sending a postcard? I have to do something that's big, that's major. So my field, a lot of my clients are in the dental industry. So because of that, and I am a dental hygienist myself, I had to figure out a way to combine things. So we came up with an event where we actually joined forces with a local high school. Now this exact world record was broken in Times Square, New York by Colgate, the company Colgate, a multi-billion-dollar company. And I somehow thought that as a 20-some-year-old that I can break their record in a small town in New Jersey. Well, I told my team about the idea and they're like, let's do it. I didn't think we should do it. I thought I'd lost my mind. I'm going crazy. I shouldn't do this. I'm never going to be successful at it. And my team, all of millennial women, they're like, oh no, we're totally doing this. This is going to happen. So pretty much we joined forces with a local high school at the homecoming game. We were all pinked out because you see what our world record was. It was called Swish Away Breast Cancer. Now, sounds weird, swish away breast cancer, but you see, we had the world record happen in October. October is Dental Hygiene Month. October is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month. My company is also women owned. So everything had to combine together and we had to, once again, connect on the values that people appreciate and like. We didn't want to just go there and talk about how amazing our marketing company is. We wanted to show them in action. So we actually went all out. We had a pink out game. We had the football players in pink, the cheerleaders in pink. We had the mayor there. We had the TV2 News there. We had video crews and press, and we had all these people. And in that stadium that night, there were over 1,500 people. And at halftime, all of them got together and they swished mouthwash at the same time. That's my world record. I held the world record for the most amount of people swishing mouthwash at the same time. But because we used all the strategies to put it together and whatever money we collected, we donated to cancer research and all that good stuff. We had people from, I got Huffington Post actually reached out and they interviewed me. I had TV2 who was doing live interviews about who is this company, who is sponsoring this, how are they getting it done? All the major press in the dental world, Dentistry IQ, these are like some press items. They were reaching out to me saying, what is this? How are you doing this? Because you just made awareness about dental hygiene, breast cancer. There's a relationship with periodontal disease and breast cancer. We had videos of survivors. We had videos of hygienists and doctors talking about it. And it became a big event. But that event landed me in press, which landed me to become very successful because Now, when somebody I reached out to and said, well, what experience do you have? Here you go. Here's my experience. Here's what I did. Here's all the press articles saying how good I am. So it was a full-on marketing trick that we did, but at least we were able to gather money for donation, and we were able to get quite a bit of leverage out of it.
Minal, I have to say that P.T. Barnum is the American Minal Sampat. I didn't want to say that you're the East Indian P.T. Barnum, because I think you should get the better credit. So that is called a publicity stunt, something that P.T. Barnum pioneered. It still works. So I believe you're an elder statesman millennial now. I think we can say that at 35. And I'm glad you got Gen D to kick around. That's great for you.
Thank
and
you.
then soon I'll be telling Gen D jokes now. I'll move off my millennial jokes. I once staged a salad eating contest in Florida between a fraternity, a bunch of frat boys, and an elephant. And we brought out all the media, everything got there. It was for a local restaurant opening. Let me tell you, a whole fraternity of college guys cannot even touch how much salad an elephant can eat. It swallowed it down. But all the media comes out. Look at her thinking on this. I think the idea of the launch where there's a crowd, somebody get this gal in front of a crowd. I think that was genius. I think this was genius because everything was in alignment. And another thing I like about it, and I think a tip to everybody, is when I'm writing for Forbes.com, I always ask people, well, what's your credibility statement? Give me some credibility in 11 words or less. Mark writes about this in Defining You. What's your credibility statement? Every week, people say the same blah, 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 boring things. I've been in business for 20 years. Well, I've been golfing longer than Tiger Woods, and a shout out to Tiger. I hope he's recovering. But I've been golfing longer than Tiger Woods. That doesn't make me good. So this is a 20-something, but a world record holder, and amazing. Now, that didn't just happen. Everybody in pink, the mayor and everything, that was a lot of work and investment that went into that. But see what the payoff can be, and it gives her credibility. I know probably when I wrote about you, it was one of the first things I mentioned. Okay, so I got interviewed for a podcast. You might go on this one if you want. It's called the Lead Balloon Podcast. And it's one of the top ranked marketing podcasts right now. And they want you to talk about a lead balloon moment in your career. I know that you have a lead balloon moment in your career, something to do with a direct mail program. Would you mind sharing that?
The direct mail program? Which one is that?
Something about an error you made with some mailing going out for a
Oh,
dentist.
okay. So we're getting real here. And if you guys don't laugh at, I hope you laughed at the chopped onion, but if you haven't laughed at the chopped onion, I hope you get some real good laughter for this one. So it was 2008. I was fresh out of college. I told my dad all that good stuff about me not going to dental school, and I'm going to marketing instead. And life was going to be good. And 2008, if you guys remember, it was the height of recession. So the fact that somebody even hired me, and they hired me when they were not hiring, they just happened to like me. I interviewed, and they are like, we have no idea what you're going to do here, but you're just going to do it. So there was a lot of goodwill behind why I was working in this amazing business. I took over their marketing, and this was a business, a practice where they would collect holiday candy, like Halloween candy, and they will send it to the troops, and they will give kids money instead of the candy, so the kids don't eat the candy. It's called buyback candy. Now, in the buyback candy, I came up with this beautiful newsletter. It was Friday evening. I sent it out to everybody, and on Saturday, I get an email back from one of the 7,000 people that received this that said there's a big typo in this email. Now, when I first got the email, I'm like, oh, they're just probably making a big deal, because the practice that I was working at, they did have some people who were a lot of Karens, let's just put it that way. So I'm like, it's just a Karen making a big deal, right? But realistically, it wasn't, because I looked at the typo and there was a very big typo. It was a huge typo. This was my first big girl marketing gig, and it was a huge typo in this business. And I remember just freaking out. I called the office manager and I'm like, listen, there's this big typo. We have to do something about it. I'm so sorry, da, 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 da. And she's, she's trying to be calm and nice to me. And she's like, Minal, maybe nobody will read it. We just started the newsletter program. No one's going to read it. Just relax. Don't worry. We'll figure this out tomorrow. Monday comes around. I'm sitting in the parking lot shaking, because this is a very big deal. I'm shaking. The doctor comes in. I go into his office. I close the door and I provide him 2 pieces of paper. And there's one word highlighted in both the pieces of paper. You see, what was supposed to go out was, don't worry, we will ship toothbrushes along with candy to the troops. What went out was, don't worry, we will ship toothbrushes along with candy to the troops. This went out to 7,000 moms of a pediatric dental practice. The practice had phone calls coming saying, how do I invest in shitting toothbrushes? Oh my God, did you know that we can shit toothbrushes? Did you know they figured out how to shit toothbrushes? It became this biggest thing. Now, I knew I was going to get fired. We were cracking up laughing, but I knew I was going to get fired. Like, what was I thinking? How does this make sense? So I'm looking at this doctor. I'm showing him the 2 pieces of paper. He's this Irish man. He turns really red. He has tears coming down his eyes and he falls off his chair because he's laughing so hard. And he's like, I know, I already saw that on Saturday. And he's just cracking up laughing about it. And I'm like, so I'm not fired? I don't know, I'm not fired. And he's like, this is what we are going to do. I will allow you to fix this mistake. So here's me, again, a 20-some-year-old, right out of college. I send out another email to those same 7,000 moms. And I said, we apologize for the typo in our previous email. You see, sometimes our team members go above and beyond the call of duty. Come on, that's a really good one.
Yeah, that's good.
And well, it was sent out. So we sent it out to the same 7,000 moms. Nobody ever complained. They all think it's hilarious. The newsletter opening rate went up by 16%. And even till today, that practice gets emails from the all-time patients saying, when are you going to make your next typo? Yeah. So who knew that someday people are going to pay me money to speak and talk about marketing and read a book on marketing about a girl who talked about shitting toothbrushes? But here we are.
Minal, thank you. Now, one thing I wanted people to take away, I don't know if you've been listening, but the way Minal tells a story, we did not rehearse that. I put her on the spot. She could have declined speaking about it, but she went for it. She uses classic storytelling technique of the year was 2008, the place, New Jersey. I'm a 20-something. She sets the scene for the story, just like a movie that comes on and it's Paris, 1798. So we know where we are and the time and place. Classic movie storytelling technique. Minal just embodies it. It's just natural. No, it's not natural to her. She worked hard at it. She has studied storytelling. I see some fingerprints of some experts there, and brava, just brava on that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I did want to know, I know we are coming closer to the time, but if you enjoy some of those strategies, there are a lot more in here. And because you're a part of this family that we all belong to, if anybody wants a signed copy of the book, just send your address to Suzanne, right, Suzanne? And she will send it over, and we will make sure that I send you a signed copy of the book. From what I'm told, Amazon only has 10 copies left right now. So I got all the ones at home that we can easily go ahead and write.
That's just a scarcity trick. We're on to that.
I don't know. I got scared. I mean, I'm scared as to what's happening there. I don't know if they're printing stuff because of COVID. Not sure. We'll see. We'll see. Mark says Amazon only has 9 left. Oh, Mark.
Hurry. You
are getting the free one, so I can't even use the scarce tactic. Yeah, I'm sending this to everybody.
Well, I guess we should try to do something nice for you in return. You know, that law of reciprocation and all that. Been so generous to us. So any last tip that you have for us? Anything you wanted to share before we close this out? You've been a wealth.
Oh, thank you. No, thank you for having me. I guess the last tip I would share is that I think that when we decide to take on anything, right, a book is a big deal. It's a big part of us because we are sharing so much of who we are and how we see the world and the information that we think is valuable. Um, I think that this is a very strategic tip in the book that I have as well that I want to share with you is try to add information that could be evergreen, number one, in a way that is easily accessible. So in my book, I have some very easy charts that I have made. But the thing is, what I get is from my clients, they actually send me photos of them making copies of that chart and creating it into an implementation way with their team inside their practice. And they share this information with me. So what I have learned strategically is that it's really good to share our passion, our values, the information we think is valuable. But what's even better to share inside the book is something that the client, our potential reader, can have as a tangible thing. So for me, it just happened to be charts and this chart. So now when they have the readers and they'll be like, yeah, we are doing this. And I put it in the chapters to say, go ahead and do this with your team. Then we started posting online saying that, hey, if you're somebody who has our book and if you need this chart copies, we will email them to you. Give us your information, just send out your email and we will actually email you all the PDF versions so you could do multiple copies. So I just wanted to share that tip because I have found that to be the reason why the book stays on the desk for many of my clients, or the reason they continue to read it. Like I had somebody recently said that they have the Kindle version, the paper version, and they bought the Audible version because now they're making the team listen to the Audible version as well. But a lot of that, I think, is happening because of the fact that it's something tangible that they can do right away. And it's something that they can hold in their hand. Like, this is an activity that I have to do. This is a thing that I have to do. I don't know how everybody's books are laid out, but that was just a thing that I did not plan for. That just happened to be in the book that I have seen good results from, where it's all about them and they reach out to my team all the time asking for that information or print copies. And now they're also, once they have their information, the emails go into my email automation system and now they're always in touch with me. So the next time I launch something, they already know what I'm launching. So it becomes a process and they are part of your community now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. One last thing, just quick. What can we do to help you? What are you looking for? What do we what should we have our ears open for to say, oh, I know just the person, Minal?
Oh, well, the newest thing that I recently just launched, apparently I launch things every year. I launched this thing, it's called Marketologist. And Marketologist is a online marketing strategy school where I'm teaching live marketing strategy to coaches, consultants, and speakers. We have the live sessions start next week. There's pre-recorded sessions, there's live sessions, everything's recorded. There are experts coming in. It's a whole, I mean, there is a 6-page long social media calendar. That's just a pre-work of before we even start the live classes. So if anybody's interested, if anybody wants to know, always reach out. More than happy to do a Indie Family promo code or whatever it is needed. But yeah, if you're looking to learn more and if you want to just learn more about marketing strategy or reach out, I'm not hard to find. Just go to Facebook and do Minal Sampat. There's a photo of me in a gray dress. Feel free to connect. That's my entire foundation, is to connect with people. So yeah, I'm here. And if I can help with anything, including Zoom backgrounds, just shoot me a message. I'm really not hard to find, or I like to at least be on the pulse of things and communicate back with people. So you won't get my team member, you will get me, especially on Facebook. Everywhere else, you'll get a team member. So Facebook is where you reach me directly.
Again, thank you so much. Well, I'm going to do a blatant commercial before we close. June 10th and 11th for the Indie Family. Important date. That's when we have our next author marketing with a book retreat. And it's Devin DeVries and I, 2 days, just about 10 authors, and we get really pragmatic, like we covered things today. Pragmatic action plan for the next 6 months to attract eyeballs to the book. So we'll send you more information. If you're not an Indie family member, it's $1,000. If you're part of the Indie family, you're my guest. So thanks to everyone, and look forward to seeing you on next week's call, and have a great week. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.